Hello, Spartan fans, and welcome to another edition of the Spartan Sideline Report here on NSUSpartans.com. I'm Ross Gordon, the play-by-play voice of the Spartans, joined by Assistant Sports Information Director Mike Bello. We'll also be joined shortly by men's tennis head coach Nate Feldman and freshman Dzmitry Zyhmantovich. First of all, Mike, let's talk a little bit about this season where we've seen probably the best look team that the Spartans have put on the courts in a while.
Absolutely. I mean, to get that win over South Carolina State's kind of, them and Florida A&M have really kind of owned this conference the past few years, and to get that win over South Carolina State was huge, and it shows that, Nate really got the program moving forward, and he's got a lot of young kids too, so we know that he's got a good base to build it around for the next few years.
It was a quick turnaround. Nate's been here for, we'll say, a year and maybe a half. He hasn't been here for a full 2 years. And this year he really hit the trenches hard and really hit the ground hard, trying to find that talent that can build NSU's program back.
Absolutely, and he got a couple kids last year, Daniel Grau and Igor Braga came in the second semester, and they did pretty well when they got in, so you kind of knew, okay, he can recruit, he can get the kids, so once he gets a full year, once he starts really get going in the recruiting cycle, he would bring in some more kids that really help, and he's already shown that he can do that.
Tough competition to start the year, and we talked about that all season long, about how that's going to build towards conference season. Had a huge win against South Carolina State. Fell to FAMU. Still a possibility that the Spartans can end up in the tie for first place going into the tournament. That means a lot, saying from where this team has come from.
Absolutely. There's been years where they've struggled. The teams have struggled. I think one year, a couple years ago, they didn't even have enough players to fill out the lineup. They only had 5 players. So to go from there to have a lot of depth where, players aren't even playing that could play, even that shows, like I said, where the program is really headed, and the future definitely is bright for them.
Mike, I think it's going to be good that we start by asking Coach Feldman first about the foundation. You seem like you've built up a nice foundation here with this program, and now only thing you can do is build and go forward with this.
Sure. We brought in 2 kids last year in January from Brazil and Germany, and they really helped us right away. And then this year we've had the opportunity to bring in 4 additional kids. So we've got 6 kids now that I brought in the starting lineup from 5 different countries. And they've really done a great job, like you said, to lay the foundation and really help us to go forward with where we want to be.
Coach, when you're recruiting at an international level, obviously tennis is a lot bigger on the international level than the United States. I mean, what's the key to finding these kids in these countries, that you may not always hear about?
Yeah, a lot of emails and phone calls. So we spend just a ton of time on the computer looking at videos and just making so many calls and emails and really just trying to stay in contact with so many players. Like you said, it's really an international game, and there's so many players available right now from so many pockets in the globe, but you really have to be on top of communication and just constantly be calling and emailing kids.
You and Tori always have a plan when it comes to recruiting. How difficult is it when they get here because of the barriers that might be, such as language barriers, such as just the familiarity with the country and everything that goes on here? How difficult is it to integrate them into this kind of system?
I think here actually it's been a little bit easier, I guess, based on our experience. Both Tori and I played with a lot of international players. Tori played at Wichita State, and I played at Minnesota with a predominantly international team. And I've lived now in 3 different countries and have traveled so much with tennis as a player and a coach that I think just understanding where these guys are coming from helps out to transition them a lot. And that has been just the biggest thing for us, because we do have kids from all over, and definitely culturally there's so many differences when they come here.
And when you have so many kids, culturally that are different, all the different countries from South America, from Eastern Europe, from Sweden, when you have all those players, I mean, is it tough to get them to really kind of bond as a team, or maybe because of the fact that they're all, coming to a foreign country together, that kind of is the bond for them?
The guys have been phenomenal. I mean, like I said, we've got 5 guys, actually 6 guys from 5 different countries in the starting lineup right now, and then Kent, our team captain, who's American, and everyone just seems to get along great, and it's just kind of this big hodgepodge full of countries, and for some reason they just have seemed to gel together.
You have to like it, but what has really propelled us this season has been the youth of this team, and has been the unexpected play of probably some of the players where no one thought they would be as good as where they are right now. One of them is with us right now, Dzmitry. I think that it's amazing when you look at people who come in right away and make an impact. It's so much pressure put on them for the next couple of years, but it seems like after he after he stepped on the scene, he hasn't really let off the gas pedal at all.
A lot of our new guys have just hit the ground running, and they've just come in and they're playing like seniors, like they've been here for 3 or 4 years. Dima right now is sitting at, I think, 9-3 in singles. 2 matches I think he probably should have won to be 11-1, but he's playing number 1 singles right now, his toughest position on the board. And Robin Riethmuller, I think, is sitting at 10-2. And so those are 2 guys who just come here right away as freshmen, and they're playing unbelievably well, just like they're so experienced already.
Well, we'll turn now to Dzmitry. And Dzmitry, this is your first year, obviously, in the country. You're from Belarus. So just, I guess, start off, talk about what it was like coming to America and, having to learn a new culture and just everything that's different from Belarus.
Yeah, it's absolutely different. First months when I came, it was really hard to understand everyone and talk foreign language for all time. But after a few months, I just adapted to this, and it started to be much easier. And we had really international team, so it was easy for me to talk to them. And we have common interests. And
sort of like you guys are all coming in the same way. They're coming from another country. All you guys are coming from a different country, so you're kind of in the same experience, having to learn the English language, having to learn our culture. So that probably makes it easier for you guys. Like we said, you guys can bond better over that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about tennis in your country, because Belarus has had some solid tennis players out there, some in the top rankings. What is tennis like over in Belarus?
In general, we don't have too much good players, but some of our top players are really good. For example, Max Mirny, he's one of the best doubles players, or Vladimir Ignatics, he's one of the best top 200 ATP players. So they give us a goal, so younger players look at them and trying to achieve the same results.
Obviously, you're saying that you got just some good players come out of Belarus, but what's tennis just like as far as, like in America, a lot of other sports like football, basketball are a lot bigger. Is tennis one of the bigger sports in Belarus, per se?
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest sports in Belarus.
You talked a little bit about your season thus far. Coming into the season, what were your expectations, and what were you thinking that tennis was going to be like in this country, especially in this conference, and how have you adjusted to tennis in this conference?
I knew that it's going to be hard, and coach always told me that I will have to play my best tennis to win these matches. So I was working hard, and since I came on the court first time, I was just fighting for every ball.
What's the difference between tennis in this country and say tennis in Belarus or tennis internationally? Is there a difference in the play of the game or anything like that?
I think here in the United States it's a little bit more competitive because there is a lot of international players, and everyone is trying to show their best tennis. So everyone competes hard.
I will say this about you guys: just seeing you guys in action, you guys look like you have a lot of fun together, whether it be on the court or off the court. It seems like you guys have a lot of fun. Talk a little bit about the team bonding situation that you guys have.
We are all really friendly, and I think when we're on the court, everyone is trying to help each other, so we would feel the energy and play like a team, not like an individual player. So I think all guys are doing pretty good.
Were you in the Harlem Shake tennis video there?
Was that you? Was that you ironing? I think it was.
Actually, it was my idea.
Oh, that was your idea?
Yeah. That was fun.
It was a good thing to see an other side. It was the other side of you guys, because I think people who see you guys, you do great in class, you do great on the court, but you just don't see a lot of the personality come out of you guys, and it seems like we saw it a little bit in that video. Not a little bit, but a lot of it in that video. Talk a little bit about what was going on when you guys did that.
We were just bored and didn't know what to do. Had a day off in South Carolina, so we just decided to have a little bit fun.
It should look like a lot of fun as we bring Coach back in. Again, if you don't know these guys, if you don't know them and you see them around, you might speak. They'll speak back. They're nice people, but you wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, no, I got a call from hotel security at about 11:30, and then I went banging on their door to see what was going on. They're sitting in there innocently like nothing happened, and then the next morning I saw their video. But All these guys are unbelievably competitive, and on the court, if you watched them, you'd think they're pretty mean out there. You know, they fight so hard, and then off the court, they're just great guys. You know, they compete well. They're great sportsmen, and off the court, they certainly have a lot of fun together.
Since the season started, how have you seen these guys grow, and what growth can they achieve in the next few years? Like, how can they get better, so to speak, to keep even reaching at a higher level?
Yeah, I mean, everyone works hard. Everyone's gotten a ton better. Dima started off in the fall, and I don't think he was playing particularly well. I saw a lot of signs that he could improve and be a phenomenally good player. Right now, I think arguably he's probably, you know, one of the 3 or 4 best players in the MEAC at the moment as a true freshman. And I would expect by his senior year that he should be nationally ranked and try to compete to get a spot in the NCAA individual tournament.
Guaranteed a trip to the tournament this year. Talk a little about what you want to see from your guys getting prepared for the tournament. We're coming up on April 19th. To get to that point, to say we've beaten South Carolina State and they're the reigning champions. They have a lot of talent. We probably didn't play our best tennis against FAMU. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of talent, but we have the team that can compete for a championship. How do you get your guys ready and prepared for that moment?
Mm-hmm. Well, against FAMU, we lost 2 super tiebreakers at 4 and 6. Dima had 5-4 30 love on Salif Kante, who was the MEAC Player of the Year last year. And then Robin won in straight sets over a pretty talented kid from England at 3. So, no, we didn't play our best tennis against them, but I think we know exactly what we need to do to beat them. And they're a really talented team. They've got size, they've got speed, and they're extremely competitive. And I think we know what we need to do. We've just got to really put in a good couple weeks here coming up to the tournament, and we've got to play well in a couple key matches that we have remaining.
Coach, I liked you ironing in the Harlem Shake video. I think that was you, and we thank you for stopping by today.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having us.
Thank you too, Dzmitry. The Spartans will be back on the court this Wednesday, March 20th, against Virginia Union at 3 p.m. It'll be their first match at home at the NSU Tennis Complex since it's been redone. NSU will have 6 matches altogether this year at home. Be sure to check out NSUSpartans.com for the complete schedule for 2013. Also, be sure to keep up with all the news surrounding the NSU Athletics Department by logging on to the web at www.nsuspartans.com. We would like to thank the NSU Department of Video and Media Production, Coach Feldman and Dzmitry, for their help here today. And for Mike Bello, I'm Ross Gordon. Until next week, thank you for watching the Spartan Sideline Report on NSUSpartans.com.